This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. Hope my voice is audible to everyone.
Yes, Sridhar.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, all of you please mute your speakers. Right. So let us understand this introduction about this SAP. As I told you yesterday, I'll start from the very basic level. So those are already into SAP. You may feel bored, but I need to start from the very basic level. So let's start. So basically, this SAP is a ERP product. SAP is a ERP what product? One second. Okay. So ERP means SAP is a ERP product. ERP stands for what? Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise Resource Planning. So first let us see the meaning of this ERP. So as I told you, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. What do you mean by enterprise? A organization, okay, any company, I can call it as what? An enterprise. So if you take any organization, I'm talking about big organizations. So if you take any organization, a organization will have what? Different departments. Like a organization might contain finance, sales department, production department, HR department, marketing department, customer care department, like that. A organization may contain different types of departments. Now, to run any organization, we require some minimum resources. What are the minimum resources we require? We require money, we require machinery, marketing, material, we require manpower, like that. They are the minimum resources required to run any organization. So in a company, which department is responsible for managing money? Finance. Machinery by what? Production. Okay. Marketing by what? Sales. Manpower by what? HR. So what you have to understand here, every department is responsible for managing a resource. Understood? There should be a proper coordination between these departments. Okay, the information between the departments has to be exchanged in a proper way. Then only the business can run smoothly. Okay, means I should know how to utilize these resources in a best possible way. Understood? If you're running a company, means we should know how to utilize these resources in a best possible way. Means the information across the departments should be exchanged efficiently so that we can efficiently utilize the resources, which will lead to what? Organization profits. So the agenda of any ERP product is to integrate all the departments so that the resources are utilized efficiently, which will lead to what? Organization profits. That is the main agenda of what? ERP products. So we have many ERP products in the market, like we have SAP, we have Oracle apps, we have PeopleSoft, we have JD Edwards, like that. We have n number of ERP products. The main aim of any ERP product is to link all the departments, to integrate all the departments within a company so that the information is exchanged efficiently, the resources are utilized in the best possible way, which will lead to what? Organization profits. So this is the meaning of what? ERP and the agenda of what? ERP. Okay, right. So what we understand from this slide is, what we understand from this slide is the agenda of ERP product is to integrate all the departments, and we understood that there are different ERP products in the market. Okay, so see this. Yeah, observe this. So ERP, SAP comes under what? ERP product. So if you compare the difference between this ERP and other products, so you might have heard of programming languages, packages, databases, operating system. right? Let us quickly understand the difference between them. Okay, so if you see this ERP products, we have SAP, right? We have SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Barn, all those things. Okay, what are the examples of programming languages? We have C language, C++, Java, and we have some old programming language like Pascal, COBOL, Fortran, like that. We have different programming languages. So what exactly a programming language contains? We'll have some set of instructions, set of statements. So as a programmer, as a C language programmer, if I'm claiming myself as a C language programmer, I should know the statements related to the C language. Using that statements, I need to develop the applications in what? C language. Similarly, C++ will have its own statements. Java will have its own statements. So most of you might know some basic concepts of C language. In C language, how do we read the user input? Scanf. How do you display the output? Printf. If you take C++, we will read the input by using cin and will display the output by using what? Cout. If you take Java, we have system.in.read, system.out.println. So what I'm trying to tell here is every programming language has got different statements. Okay, as a developer, I should know the statements of that programming language, and using that statements I need to develop the applications. So programming languages are used for what? Developing the applications. Similarly, we have packages. We have many packages available, like we have some accounting packages like Tally, Wings, Focus, and even if our MS Office also, it is also a package. So MS Office contains what? We have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all those things. So do we write, excuse me, do we write any what programs in this MS Word or Excel? No, no, right? If you will open the MS Word and will directly start using that, you will not write any programs. So I can say a package is nothing but what? A ready to use product. Ready to use product. In order to develop these packages, we require what? Programming language. Am I clear? So what is the difference between a programming language and a package? We use programming languages for developing what? Applications, nothing but what? Packages. A package is the one which is ready to use. Okay, if you take our MS Word, we will not write any programs in that. We will directly use that particular package which is ready to use. Similarly, we have what? Databases. We have different databases in the market like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, like that. What exactly is the purpose of a database? If you take any business, in every business, on a day-to-day basis, you will capture huge amount of data. So where do we capture, where do we store that particular data? As part of what? Database. So I can say a database is a place where we store some interrelated data in the form of tables, in the form of rows and columns. Understood? It is a place where we store the data permanently so that I can access that particular data at later point of time. I can modify the data at later point of time. So that is the meaning of what? Database. Similarly, we have what? Operating system. We have many operating systems like Windows, Unix. Okay. What is the purpose of an operating system? If you want to work on a computer machine, we require a mediator, we require an environment. That environment is provided by what? Operating system. It will control all the hardware devices and the software programs. It is a mediator between the user and the system. So why we are discussing all these things is our SAP comes under what? ERP, right? Already we understood the aim of ERP products. What is the aim of any ERP product? To integrate all the departments together, to link all the departments together so that the resources are utilized in a best possible way, which will lead to what? Organization profits. So yeah, SAP doesn't come under programming language. It is not an ordinary package. It is not a database, it is not a operating system, it is one of the ERP product. So in SAP also, we just like yesterday I discussed, in every ERP product we have different modules, functional modules and what, technical modules. So our ABAP comes under what, technical module. So to give a clear picture on this ERP, from this diagram what we understood is, agenda of ERP is to link all the departments. So how do you link these departments here? I'll take a simple example. Yeah. Yeah, assume that you want to do ABAP course. Okay, so you have n number of, you have hundreds of choices. We have many online trainings worldwide. Okay, you can attend any training, you can attend from any institute, any trainer. Okay, so just like that, we will not attend. You want to do ABAP course, will you directly make the payment and start attending the first session? No, right? We'll do some R&D on that. Okay, we'll take the feedback, we'll take the reviews, we'll attend few sessions like that. Based on that, you'll do some analysis and then you'll decide to do the uh, course. Similarly, a generalized example, like you want to purchase a what, a laptop. Okay, will you directly go to a shop and directly make the payment and do? No, right? We'll do some R&D. Okay, similarly here also, let me take this example, just observe this. Yeah, try to understand this. Yeah, assume that as a customer, as a customer I want to what, purchase a laptop. So what you will do, you will take the quotation. So from whom you will take the quotation? You will visit a showroom, you will visit a company. Okay, you will interact with what, marketing department. For example, I'm saying you will collect the information from the marketing department. So this marketing department will give you the information in the form of what, quotation. So what you will do as a customer, you will collect the quotations from what, different vendors. You will collect the quotation from HP, you will collect the quotation from Dell, you will collect the quotation from LG, like that. From different vendors, you will collect the quotations. You will analyze which is the best quotation suited for your requirement. Based on that, based on that analysis, you will decide to purchase a laptop. So here also what you will do, initially when you inquire about the product, the marketing department will provide you the information in the form of what, quotation document. You will collect the quotations from different vendors, different suppliers, and you will analyze which is the best quotation which suits your requirement. Based on that analysis, you will provide the order, you will raise the order. So assume that I have decided to purchase some two laptops. Okay, so I have raised the order with one of the company. Okay, so in that order, I'll tell you what is the what product I want, what is the quantity I want, to which address it has to be delivered, like that. You'll provide some information in the order. So what happens now, sales department will come into picture. What they'll do, they'll collect the quotation from the customer and they'll prepare some different documents. Okay, like purchase order document, sales order document. Don't worry about that, the sequence would be different, but here, just to make it generalized, what the sales department will do, they'll take the quotation, they'll take the order from the customer. Against to that order, they'll prepare what, different business documents. We'll talk about that later on during the course. They'll prepare some purchase document, sales or document, like that. N number of documents they'll prepare. So assume that customer has placed an order to purchase some 10 laptops. So the company has to deliver 10 laptops to the customer. Na? So initially, as a customer, you are interacted with which department? Initially with marketing department, next with what? Sales department. These two departments, I will call it as what? Front-end department. You'll call it as front-end department, where the customer will directly interact. Now, the company has to deliver the product to the customer. So they have to check the stock availability, all those things. So internally what happens, the sales department, the scenario would be different, but I just customize it. So here, sales department is sending the request for what? the inventory department, warehouse, a godown where the stock is maintained, for example. Okay, why they are sending the request to this department? For checking what? Stock. Check for what? Stock availability. Customer has placed an order for 10 laptops, so we need to check whether the stock is available or not. Okay, so when I'm checking for the stock availability, with what department the sales department is communicating here? Warehouse department, a inventory department. So if the stock is available, the request is sent to the billing department. They'll generate the invoice and then the goods will be delivered, something like that. This is a different process. If the stock is y indicates what here? Stock is available. Suppose if the stock is not available, am I clear? If the stock is not available, what the company has to do? Company has to manufacture that particular product or get that product from some other place and deliver it to the customer. So assume that sufficient stock is not available. So company has decided to manufacture the product. Since sufficient stock is not available, company has decided to manufacture the product. So which department is responsible for manufacturing the products? Production department. So to manufacture, a request is sent to a production department. So to manufacture any product, what the production department requires? Some raw materials, no? So raw materials are maintained by which department? Department. So the production department will send a request to department requesting for what? Raw material. So department has to procure that particular raw material. They'll supply it to what? Production department. This is one scenario where the raw material is supplied to a production department. Production department will manufacture the product. Assume that sufficient raw material is not available. Okay, this is another scenario. If raw material is not available, what the company has to do? Company has to what? Purchase that raw material. So a request is sent to a department called as purchase department, who are responsible for making the purchases. Okay, so what this purchase department will do? They will invite quotations from what? Different vendors, different suppliers. So each vendor will supply their quotation. Again, the purchase department will analyze which is the best quotation. Based on that analysis, they will decide to whom they have to purchase the raw material. So assume that three vendors have supplied the quotation. The purchase department will analyze, the management will analyze, and assume that they have decided to purchase the raw material from vendor 2. Okay, vendor 2, they have decided to purchase the raw material. So they have to make some payment to this vendor. Na? So they require funds. So this purchase department will raise a request to what? Finance department, requesting for what? Funds. So depending on the requirement, finance department will approve or will do partial approve or will disapprove, whatever it is. They'll do some action. Based on that, the other operations are performed. So in this scenario, customer is not involved. Internally, the departments are exchanging the information. These departments, I call it as what? Back-end department. So in a company, I can categorize them into two types of departments: front-end department and back-end department. Understood? Front-end department is the one where the customer will directly interact. Back-end department is the one where the customer will not interact directly. So this is one of the business process. This is one of the business process which is happening in what? A company. Assume that this business process is not automated. It is not computerized. All the information between the departments is exchanged manually, either by paper or by person or whatever it is. Assume that this process is not automated, not computerized. So what is the limitation? What is the disadvantage with this manual process? One is time factor. Lots of time is consumed. Manpower, lots of manpower is required. There is no security for your data. Understood? And lots of paperwork is increased. Okay. Time factor. Okay. there is no data accuracy, there is a possibility of data redundancy, means data duplication, there is no security for your data. So to avoid all these problems, to avoid all these limitations, what the big organizations will do, they will automate their business process by using what? ERP products. The big organizations like Reliance, Tata, where there are what, many departments involved there into different types of businesses, what they'll do, they will automate their business process by using what? ERP product. What is the advantage of ERP product? ERP products are what? Inbuilt products. Already the integration between the departments is inbuilt. The link between the departments is inbuilt. Just we need to customize it according to our requirement. Am I clear? So assume that this is the Reliance, this is the business process which is happening in a company like Reliance, one of the business process. So they will decide to what? Purchase, they will decide to implement what? SAP. There are many ERP products in the market. One of the ERP product is what? SAP. So try to understand this. So you understood now what is the disadvantage with the manual process? Lots of manpower, time factor, there is no security for data, paperwork is increased, there is a possibility of data redundancy, there is a possibility of data loss, there is no accuracy of the data. Understood? Same information again and again we may exchange. So to overcome these limitations, the big organizations will automate their business process by using what? ERP products. One of the ERP product is what? SAP. And SAP is a leader in the ERP products. SAP is a leader in ERP product, means SAP has got more customers worldwide compared with what? Other ERP products. Why? Because SAP has got solution for any kind of business. You take any business worldwide, for most of the businesses SAP will provide what? Solution. Okay, that is the reason SAP has got what? More customers worldwide. That's why it is a leader in the ERP. Right? So assume that here, yeah, before I continue, any queries up to this point? Any questions? Please ask. Right. So let us understand what is the meaning of that customization, implementation, all those things. So just here, assume that Reliance is there. Okay. Reliance has decided to implement SAP to automate their business process. Okay, so we need to implement what? SAP for Reliance. So what this Reliance will do, they will contact. SAP is basically, it's a ERP, the product name itself is ERP, SAP, and which company has developed this product? SAP AG. SAP AG is a German based company. This company has developed this particular product. Am I clear? So the name of the company and the name of the product is same. SAP is a product name. SAP AG is a name of the company. So this company has developed this product. So what Reliance will do is, or any customer, what they'll do is, they'll approach different implementation companies. Understood? They'll approach different implementation companies. So we have many implementation companies available. We have Wipro, we have IBM, we have TCS. Okay, we have Infosys. Okay, we have what? Tech Mahindra. Like this, we have what? Different implementation companies who are going to implement what? SAP. So what this Reliance management will do? Okay, they will contact these implementation companies, and each implementation company management, the team, what they will do, they will demonstrate the what advantages of using this SAP, how we can implement the solution, what is the cost factor, duration, what is the manpower required, all this thing they'll explain. Okay, so assume that this, the team from these companies will give the presentations. Understood? They'll give their quotations, how much cost it will take to implement SAP for their business. Okay, how much time is required, what are the infrastructure we require, all those things they'll provide in the form of quotation. They'll give presentations, they'll give the past experience, they'll give their client history, or they'll give the feedback of the existing clients. All those things they'll provide, just like you are doing ABAP course. Okay, understood? You are attending from me, you may attend from different instructor, like that. You will take what, you'll attend sessions from what different trainers, different training institutes, whichever you feel comfortable, depending on the time factor, cost factor, quality, quantity, all those things you'll decide. Similarly here also, assume that Reliance is convinced with what, Wipro. Okay, Reliance is convinced with what, Wipro. So they have decided to what, go for what, Wipro. So Wipro is the implementation company who is going to implement SAP for what, Reliance. Okay, so try to understand this. What this Wipro will do, Wipro will recruit what, different consultants. Wipro will have what, functional consultants. Okay, Wipro will have what, technical consultants. Am I clear? Wipro will have technical consultants. Wipro will have basis consultant who are into what, installation, all those things, right? So Wipro will have what, their own consultants. What do you mean by functional consultants? As I told you, if you are from functional modules background, if you are from FICO background, if you are from what, SD background, HR background, background, okay, plant maintenance, like this, we are called as functional consultant. Technical consultant is basically from what, technical models. ABAP consultant is called as what, technical. Basis consultant is from basis models. Okay, right. So Wipro will have their own team. So these people knows about what, how SAP works. Understood? Because they are from which background, SAP background, they know how SAP works. Now Reliance will have their own team. Try to understand. Reliance will have their own team. We call them as what, customer team. Understood? So I assume that I am a person from Reliance company. So I know how the Reliance business will be operated. I know what are the products of Reliance. I know in which location they operate, their mode of business. So I know everything about the business requirements of Reliance. I am from the customer team. Now these people are from which team? They are from what, SAP background. So they know only how SAP product works. Okay, they don't know anything about the Reliance. So what happens initially? Some workshops will be conducted, some meetings will be conducted. In that meetings, the customer team, means I'm talking from the team from what, Reliance, they'll explain about their current business, they'll explain about their business requirements, future business requirements. So who will attend those workshops? By this consultant, mainly by what, functional consultants, mainly functional consultant will attend that particular meetings, because they know only about SAP. Okay, suppose if I'm a FICO consultant, I know how a FICO module works in SAP. If I'm a SD consultant, I know the transactions related to SD model. If I'm a MM consultant, I know how to use the transactions in MM module. Like that, every consultant will be having knowledge of that particular module. They don't know anything about Reliance. That is the reason initially they need to attend the workshops conducted by the customer team. So in that workshops, the customer team will explain about their business, their products, their requirements, okay, what is the change they want, all those things they'll explain. So what these people will do, assume that the Reliance company has explained their requirements, and assume that according to their requirements, for example, I'm saying, according to their requirements, they want overall some 1,000 screens. Try to understand. Overall they require what, some 1,000 screens. Now this Reliance will purchase what, SAP software. Reliance will purchase SAP software, which SAP is a what, ERP product. Already the software is inbuilt, just we need to customize it. Okay, so assume that what are the modules they want, based on that they'll purchase but that particular SAP software. Okay, now assume that this SAP software has got some 3,000 screens overall. For example, I'm saying, for example, across these modules, we'll have n number of transaction. I'm not since we are very new to the terminology transaction, I am calling it as a screen. Assume that all these modules contains around 3000 screens, for example. But according to our customer requirement, who is the customer here? We are from Wipro team. Who is our customer? Reliance. So according to our customer requirement, they want how many screens? 1000 screens. Overall SAP contains what? 3000 screens. So what you have to do now is, you in the sense mainly by functional consultant, because these are the people who has attended the meetings, who has understood the business requirements of the customer. So based on that analysis, based on the understanding of the business, what they have to do is, okay, SAP has got some 3000 screens, they require only 1000 screens. So what you will do now, in these 3000 screens, you will understand how many screens I can directly use. Assume that 500 screens can be directly used without any modification. For example, I am saying, okay, overall customer requires how many screens? 1000 screens. So out of 1000 screens, we have 3000 screens in SAP system. In these 3000 screens, assume that 500 screens exactly fits with what? Reliance requirement I can directly use. This is the analysis this functional team will do. Okay. Then another 200 screens which are available in SAP, another 200 screens which are available in SAP, they require what? Some enhancements. They require what? Enhancements. Enhancement means I cannot use them directly. I have to plug some additional features in that existing screen. So this is the analysis. And assume that another 100 screens requires modifications. Okay, there is a difference between enhancement and modification. Enhancement means without disturbing the current features, we are going to plug what? Additional features. That is what? Enhancement. Modification means what? We will disturb the current feature, we will disturb some of the current features, and we'll modify it according to our requirement. Done. So 500 plus 200 plus 100, 800. Another 200 screens I require which are not available in SAP system. Okay, whatever the SAP software is there, it has got some generalized screens which will meet most of the customer requirements worldwide. But every customer will have their own business requirements. Na? SAP cannot predict the business requirements of all the customers worldwide. So they'll give a generalized software which will suit most of the business requirements. Some business requirements will be specific to that particular customer. So 200 screens further I require. Those screens, actually you should call it as transaction, but I'm pronouncing it as screen. So another 200 transactions I require which are not available in the SAP system. So I need to develop what? New screen. So I need to do the development of these screens. These screens are not available in the SAP software. I need to develop these screens on behalf of my customer. All this analysis will be done by whom? By whom? By the functional consultant. So functional consultant, initially what they will do, they will attend the workshops conducted by the customer team. Okay, you'll have some question and answers. They'll analyze the current business requirement and they'll map that business requirements to the SAP software, and they'll then at the last they'll come to a conclusion saying that how many new screens, how many new transactions that we need to develop, how many existing transactions requires enhancements, how many existing transactions requires modification. All this analysis will be done by whom? By the functional consultant. Am I clear? So this is the initial setup. Understood? Whenever you're implementing SAP for any customer, we will not blindly implement the software. We have to understand their business requirements and map that business requirements of the customer with the SAP software. SAP comes with what? Predefined transactions which are part of different departments. We need to customize the transactions according to our requirements. So this is the overall conclusion given by what? Functional consultant. So functional consultant doesn't know how to develop the new screen. Functional consultant doesn't know how to do the modification. Functional consultant doesn't know how to do the enhancement. They know only how to use that screens. They know how that screen works, but they don't know how to develop that particular screen. So this development, enhancement, changes has to be done by whom? By the ABAP consultant. Understood? So initially what happens is, at the beginning of every SAP project, functional consultant will mainly interact with the customer team. They'll analyze the business requirement. Based on the analysis, they'll prepare different documents. We'll talk about the documents later on. They'll prepare different documents. So what are the documents I prepare may not be correct. Understood? So the documents will be again evaluated. If any add-ons are there, if any changes has to be there, you have to modify the document like that. Once the documents are signed off, the ABAP consultant will come into picture. They will start the development, they'll start the enhancements, all those things. So initially, functional consultant is the one which will interact with the customer team. I am not saying that ABAP consultant will not interact with the customer team. Yes, they'll interact, but later point of time. But initially, it is the job of what? Functional consultant. And sometimes, if you are a senior technical consultant, you may also be part of that particular team, that initial analysis. You may also involved in that, attending that workshops to give your inputs. But majorly our job will be at later point of time when we come to this development, enhancement, all those things. Am I clear? So SAP, what is the overall understanding? Any ERP product, just like SAP, they come up with what? Predefined transactions. Understood? What do you mean by transaction? Basically, suppose you want to withdraw an amount from an ATM. So what you will do? You will perform the transaction in the ATM machine. You will insert the card. You will enter the PIN number. If it is a valid PIN, you will get the next screen like current account or savings account. I'll choose savings account. I'll get the next screen like with options like amount withdraw, balance inquiry, checkbook request. I'll enter what amount cash withdrawal. I'll get the next screen. Enter the amount you want to withdraw. I'll enter the amount. Do you want receipt? Yes or no? So, and do you want to continue? Yes or no? So all these things is part of one transaction only. Na? A transaction can be associated with one or more screens. What are the data we capture in all these screens together is what? One transaction. Withdrawing the amount from an ATM is a transaction. Depositing the amount is a transaction. Opening the account is a transaction. Am I clear? So you take any business, every business will contain with different types of transactions. To perform the transaction, I require what? The screens. So all those transactions are inbuilt in what? SAP system. It may not exactly fit with the customer requirement. We need to analyze how many transactions you need to enhance, how many transaction requires for modification, how many new transaction I need to develop. For example, just who are very new to SAP, just observe here. How to log on, we'll see later on. Okay, forget about all these things. So this is my SAP system. Okay, in this SAP system, in this SAP system, uh, we have a transaction for creating a new customer. Whenever a new customer joins a business, we need to create that customer record. We need to capture that customer data, and what are the data we capture? That data will go and sit in what? Some tables. So to create a customer, try to understand. To create a customer, SAP has provided one transaction like XD01. So I'll run a T code. What is this T code? Also, we'll talk later on, who are very new to SAP. So I'm running a T code called as XD01. XD01 for creating a new customer. A new customer has joined my business. So I have to create that customer information. So I'll run a T code called as what? XD01. Who has given this T code? By SAP itself. So I'm running this T code. So I got some initial screen. This is my initial screen. Okay. I'll enter some data here. Understood? I'll enter some data. I'll enter some data here. Account group I'll enter. I'll go inside. I got another screen. Like that, to create a single customer information, I need to navigate across many screens. in each screen I'll capture some data. What are the data I capture? That data will go and sit in what? Some table. Some table means where the table exists in the database. So I require what? A database also. Whenever we use SAP, to store the data also we require what? Database. So SAP is database independent. It can support any kind of what? Database. So assume that this is the transaction given by SAP. Now assume that according to our Reliance business requirement, they want to use this transaction, but according to Reliance requirement, what they are expecting is they want some additional fields here. Apart, these are the fields given by whom? SAP itself. But what the Reliance customer want, they want some additional fields here, right? Suppose just to give an idea. Yeah. So what I'm talking here. So in SAP, I'm having a transaction called as what? XD01. Try to understand. I'm having a transaction called as XD01. This is one of the transaction to create the customer. So a transaction will contain different screens. No? So assume that this is my initial screen. Okay. This is my second screen. Okay. This is my third screen. Like that, it may have n number of screens. Okay, so these are all the screens given by whom? By SAP itself. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. Okay, so try to understand. The link between the screens is given by SAP itself. You need not worry about that. Okay, so whenever I run the T code, so what I am doing here, I am running the T code. Sorry, I am running the T code XD01. Whenever I run the T code XD01, my initial screen will open. So initial screen will have some fields. There are some fields we are having. This is field 1, field 2, field 3. Okay, and this screen 2 also contains what? Some fields. It contains some fields. It contains some radio buttons. It contains some check boxes. Like that, you'll have different types of elements. Okay, different types of fields. Fields can be in the form of input fields. Fields can be in the form of buttons. Fields can be in the form of check boxes. Fields can be in the form of radio buttons. Fields can be in the form of drop down. Like that, you'll have hundreds of fields. So what are the data I capture in these screens? At the end, whenever I save it, that data will go and sit in what? The tables. Understood? What are the data we capture? This data should go and sit in my database. So this is my database. In this database, a database is a collection of what? Database tables. You'll have many tables. You'll have many tables. So assume that this is table 1, this is table 2. Like that, we have n number of tables. What are the data we capture? It will go and sit in this particular table. So what we are trying to discuss here is, this is the standard transaction which is available in the SAP software. Whenever Reliance purchases SAP software, this transaction is inbuilt. But what is my Reliance customer requirement? In this second screen, or in this initial screen, or in this third screen, they want some additional fields. Okay, what they want? They want some two additional fields. They want some two additional fields. Okay, what is the purpose of these additional fields? To capture some data which is specific to their requirement. So these are the additional fields they require, which is specific to their business. But SAP cannot predict the business requirements of all the customers worldwide. Na? So they'll give a generalized screen. So in one of the screen, my Reliance customer wants some additional fields. So they'll tell this requirement. So who will listen to this requirement? By the functional consultant. So they know that in SAP, for creating a customer, we have a T code XD01, and that transaction has got n number of screens, and in that one of the screen they want some additional fields. So functional consultant doesn't know how to add these fields. They know about this T code, they know how to use this T code, they know how to navigate between the screens, they know everything about this transaction because they are from functional background. So if I'm a SD consultant, if I know SD module, I should know how to use this particular T code XD01 because this is related to customer to what? Sales. So the SD consultant should know about this particular transaction, but my customer is asking for that additional fields which is not available in the SAP software. So what the SD consultant will do, I mean the functional consultant, he will come to ABAP consultant. He will say that I am having so and so transaction. In the transaction in so and so screen, I want the additional fields. You know where to add that fields. You know in which screen they want the fields, but the functional consultant doesn't know how to add these fields. So it is the responsibility of whom? ABAP consultant, to add these additional fields. What is the purpose of adding the additional fields? Not for decoration. Na? The purpose of adding these additional fields is what? To capture some additional data. To capture some additional data. This data at the end will go and sit in some table. Na? So in SAP system, I'm having a table called as K11 table. I will talk about all these things later on. I'm having a table called as K11. A table is a collection of fields. Na? Assume that it has got 30 fields. Who has given these 30 fields? By SAP itself. But according to my customer requirement, I want some additional fields. These 30 fields are not sufficient. Na? So what I have to do now? Functional consultant knows in which table the data is stored. But this table is having only 30 fields. So we need to add the additional two fields. Na? Functional consultant doesn't know how to add the additional fields. So what the ABAP consultant will do? First, he will enhance this table. By adding what? Additional fields. Okay, so we'll use some enhancement technique and we will add what? Additional two fields. So first we'll add the additional fields at what level? Table level. Then you'll come to the transaction. Then you'll come to that screen. In that screen, we will check. I mean to say ABAP consultant will check whether SAP has given any enhancement, whether SAP has given any plugin to add the additional fields. We need to identify that enhancement. We need to identify that plugin, and based on that type of enhancement, we will implement something to add what? Additional fields. So these things are done by whom? ABAP consultant. So what I am doing here, I am enhancing my table with additional fields. I am enhancing my transaction with additional fields to capture what? Some additional data, and I need to write some logic. So when the screen is displayed, I will have the additional fields also. No? So the customer will enter the data. What are the data enter in these additional fields should go and sit in these additional two fields. No? So that logic also is implemented by whom? By ABAP consultant. Understood? Functional consultant knows how the business is performed. He knows how to use the transaction. He knows how to how to navigate between the screens. He knows what are the corresponding tables which will store the customer data, which will store the sales order data. But he don't know how to enhance this. These enhancements are done by whom? By ABAP consultant. Similarly, assume that my Reliance requirement is they want one additional field, sorry, they want one transaction basically. That screen should contain some fields. So this kind of screen is not available in SAP system at all. Assume that customer is expecting a screen which has to what? Enter some data like competitor name. Okay, I'm expecting a screen which should contain these fields: competitor name, competitor what? Business. Okay, competitor what? Competitor address. Okay, competitor price. So this kind of screen is not available in what? SAP system. But my customer wants this transaction. So what again functional consultant will do? He will collect this requirement from the customer. He don't know how to design this transaction. Again, this requirement is given to whom? To the ABAP consultant. What the ABAP consultant will do? He will develop that new transaction. I might be involved. I might be involved in what? Enhancing the transaction. I might be involved in what? Developing the transaction, or sometimes this screen I should not show. This is a field given by whom? This is a field. These are the two fields given by whom? SAP. So my customer don't want this field. So I want to modify this screen. I should not add the additional fields. I need to delete these fields. So this comes under what? Modification. So all these activities are done by whom? By ABAP consultant. That would be the role of what? ABAP consultant. So the overall summary is SAP comes up with what? SAP software comes up with what? Predefined transactions. How many transactions? Means thousands of transactions. You and I cannot remember the transaction. Okay. If I'm a SD consultant, understood? If I'm a SD consultant, I should know all that. I should know the important transactions related to SD module. If I'm a MM consultant, I should know the important transactions related to MM module. If I'm a FICO consultant, I should know the important related to what? FICO module. Like that, you'll have thousands of transactions. So the functional consultant will analyze the requirement, and that requirement will be given to whom? ABAP consultant. So functional consultant will come to you. You will say that I am having a transaction SAP system. In the transaction, I want the additional fields. He don't know where to add that fields. He don't know how to implement it. But the requirement is given to whom? ABAP consultant. So ABAP consultant, what he has to do? He has to collect the program behind this transaction. In that program, I need to navigate to this particular screen. In that screen, I need to check whether SAP has provided any enhancement in the form of something called as customer exit, baddies, all those things. I need to identify that. I need to analyze which is the best customer exit suited for this requirement. I need to do that analysis. I need to implement that particular enhancement. All these tasks are done by whom? By ABAP consultant. And after adding the additional fields, I need to test this now. So I'll take the help of functional consultant for testing, because as an ABAP consultant, I don't know how to use this T code. So I'll sit with the functional consultant. I will understand what is the current functionality and what is the expected functionality. Based on that, I'll implement. After implementing, again, I'll sit with the functional consultant. I will test it and I'll enter some data here. When I save it, this data, additional data should go and sit in what? Corresponding field. So all these things are done by whom? ABAP consultant. Yeah, hope this is clear to everyone. Any queries, please ask. So this is one of the transaction here, X01. Like that, you'll have thousands of transactions. Okay. Suppose I want to create a sales order. VA01 is a T code. I'll get that particular transaction. I want to create a purchase order. I'll go to ME21. Okay, I want to create a material, MM01. So all these transactions are predefined. Whenever a customer purchases SAP software, all these transactions will be readily available. But customer may not want this as it is. Definitely every customer will have their own business requirement. So I need to customize that according to our requirement, our customer requirement. So all these things are done by technical consultant with the help of what? Functional consultant. Yes, any questions, please ask. No questions? Okay, so what we understood so far is SAP comes under what? ERP product. What is the agenda of? Is there any ERP product that may replace SAP in future? Means I cannot tell, you cannot tell. Okay, depends upon the innovations. Okay, since we are learning SAP, I cannot say SAP is good, others are bad. No. Suppose you are using a mobile phone. Will you get a better mobile phone in future? Yes, I may get it. Why not? Okay, so we can't say. But the advantage of SAP is SAP will has got the solution for any kind of business. You take oil and insurance, you take retail, you take hospital. Okay, you take any kind of business worldwide. SAP has provided what solutions for that. That is why SAP is a leader in what? ERP product. So people will say that if you take Oracle apps is very good for finance related thing. PeopleSoft, it is very good for HR related thing. But if you take SAP, it has got the solution for any kind of business. So don't worry about the future product. Currently, we are living with SAP. In future, again, SAP also, Suppose if a new product is going to replace SAP, means SAP will not keep quiet now. SAP will also what? Will come up with what? New innovations. They'll minimize what? As of now, to create a customer here, I'm having too many fields. So in future versions, SAP will enhance it with what? Limited fields. The look and feel would be different. So definitely, if the competitor is increasing, the SAP also will come up with what? New innovation. Suppose I am teaching ABAP. Okay, my ABAP recordings are spread worldwide. Okay, many people unknowingly, not unknowingly, knowingly only, they uploaded in what? Udemy, so and so, the old videos. So what I know, what I'll do now, okay, those are all old videos. Now what I'll do in the new batches, in the upcoming batches, what I'll do, I'll keep on changing my scenarios. I'll come up with what? Latest examples. What are the current market requirements are there? I'll come up with that. So I'll also adjust. I'll also adapt myself based on my competition. Understood? So that is the reason. Suppose some XYZ trainer is teaching so and so product. Assume that I am not teaching that so far. Now that particular concept has been taught by what? Other trainers. So what I'll do, I'll look into that. Okay, I'll also add it in my course content. Like that, will innovations, adaptation should be there. Okay, we will not stick to the same product throughout. Na? We have to keep on changing depending on the competition and the requirements. Done. So any questions here? So we understood the meaning of what ERP, and we understood little bit about what the role of what ABAP consultants and what functional consultant. Tomorrow what we will do is we'll discuss elaborately the role of ABAP consultant. Assume that you are an ABAP consultant assigned to a project, whether you are a fresher or 10 years experience. What is your role in the project? Okay, that role we'll discuss in tomorrow. What kind of objects that we develop in the projects, that part we'll discuss too. In the interview point of view also, what is your role in the project means we should explain that role. What are the activities you have done? So generally what happens is, what is your role in the project means generally we'll explain that I developed this one, I developed that one. But apart from development, what are the other activities you have done? That also is important. Pre-development, post-development. Okay, so as an ABAP consultant, don't think that directly we'll start developing the programs, right? So pre-development activities, post-development activities will be there. That part we'll start discussing from tomorrow. So as I told you, initial 2-3 days it will only theory sessions. Once we understand this role of ABAP consultant and the type of objects we develop, we'll start the practical. But I'm sorry, tomorrow is Sunday na, so tomorrow no class. Next class we will have it again on what, Monday. I'm okay to take tomorrow also if it is fine with everyone. Yes, option is open to you.
Yes, fine with me also.
Fine,
Anyone, any
Sridhar.
no
Fine,
problem,
fine.
right? Okay.
Fine,
Yes,
sir.
So
sir.
we, yeah, we'll do one thing.
Fine, sir.
So we'll, yeah, fine. So we'll do one thing. Tomorrow, same time, Sunday, we'll have the session at what same time, 8:30 a.m. Because why I'm taking the session tomorrow is next week we have the festival Shivaratri. So I may not be available one day. So I have not yet decided on which day. I may not be available, most probably on Wednesday. I may be traveling. I don't know, not yet confirmed. So just to compensate that, anyhow, these are all theory sessions. We'll try to finish up these theory sessions before the festival, so that after the festival we can start with the practical part. So tomorrow, same time, we'll have the session at 8:30 a.m. We will discuss the role of ABAP consultant in the SAP project. So I'm done for today. Any queries, please ask. And one more thing, I have shared the recording yesterday, and one more important point here. After uploading the recording, I'll send the email. Okay. So don't try to play the recording immediately. It has to get buffered. So try to play it after 1 or 2 hours. After I sending the mail, once I upload the recording, I'll send a mail saying that recording has been uploaded. After receiving my mail, after 1 or 2 hours, you start playing that. If you start playing it immediately, it may not play sometimes because it has to get buffered. And I've shared it yesterday. Hope everyone has received. Anyone not received or not getting played? Fine, right? Okay. So if any issue is there, drop me a mail. I will respond to that. In case if you are unable to play, if one is able to play, everyone should able to play that. So yeah, Ashok, what is the query? You have not received the recording, huh? Yeah, let me cross check your mail ID, Ashok, because I'll have a separate list for sending the meeting ID, separate list for sending recordings, all those things. And today onwards, I'll start sending the material also. Yesterday I shared only the recording. What are the slides I discussed today? Okay, so these slides and what are the required notes is there. I'll start sharing it from today through email. Recording I'll upload in the Google Drive. And again, don't expect the recording immediately after the class, not possible, because daily I'll be having 3-4 classes. After completing 3-4 classes in my free time, I need to convert it. That conversion of each recording will take some time. So I have to look up my personal project, these things, and then in my free time I'll do it. So generally you'll get this email and recording by evenings, by evening 4 p.m. I'll try to send it by afternoon, but to be on safe side, I'm saying it as evening. Okay, so after I sending the mail, you start checking for that recording, all those things. So tomorrow also we'll have the session, same time, 8:30 a.m. Tomorrow I may start sharp at 8:30 because before this class tomorrow I'm having only one session, so I'm able to start tomorrow sharply at 8:30. I'll try to start sharp by 8:30 tomorrow. Okay, yeah, Ashok, I'll send it today. I'll send it, don't worry. If you're not received the recording, don't worry, I'll send it today. Okay, chalo. Okay, so I'm done for today's session. Any questions before I log off? Chalo then. So thanks everyone. We'll meet tomorrow, same time, 8:30.
Thank you, Sujit. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.